Hey, Jen.
What's up, Pussycat?
Wow. Thanks for that. I mean, a guy wears leopard print shoes to record his podcast episode, and he's like, gets thrown under the bus.
Not under the bus. I am highlighting it. I'm putting it on a billboard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's up, Pussycat?
Thanks for that, Tom Jones. So I was thinking, as I always do all the time, about the idea as I become older and I go through the experiences of life and all of them, good and or bad, am I becoming a better person as I age, or have I paused in my growth, or am I regressing? Have you ever thought about that?
Are you asking for my feedback on you personally?
No, I'm well aware. I'm well aware of what you think about me. And you're like amazed at all the excellence that I defecate. I understand.
Just in amazement.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's hard to get my head in this room sometimes. It's so amazing. But have you ever thought about that from a spiritual standpoint? Like growing?
Well, yeah. I mean, the idea that you're not the same as you were yesterday. Are you better? Or are you kind of like staying stagnant or, worse off? I've thought about it a lot in my spiritual journey. I journal, and I like looking back at where I was, a month ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, a lifetime ago. So, yeah, I think it's important to recognize.
All right. Well, I want to talk about it more. Let's take a break and jump back into it.
All right.
This is No Expectations, the podcast where we have unedited, lively conversations about spirituality, Zen Buddhism, holistic living, and everything in between. My name is Andrew. I'm a lifelong Zen Bodhisattva. It sounds much more fancy than it really is. A part-time tracksuit tailor and an author. This is my buddy, Jen.
What's up? I'm Jen. I love a good cup of coffee, a long walk in the woods at a comfortable, moderate pace. And I love having these conversations about kind of living life with no expectations.
And we're back. We're talking about the idea of are you progressing in your spiritual struggle, or are you in a pause mode, or are you going backwards? I struggle with it sometimes. Some days I feel like, yeah, man, this is it. Like I'm trusting in the universe. I'm just like, trust falling into the universe and letting it take me wherever it wants to go. And I'm like good with it. And then some days like, wait, what? I don't feel so good about this. Like, so I think for me, in my experience of being able to continue my journey with this idea of am I getting better, is being more self-aware. Like that was probably the turning point in my life, is looking around and going, okay, like all of these things are happening around me, and what significance do they have for me, opposed to having my head down and just kind of going through my life in kind of bully mode, if you will. Like, I don't give a damn about anybody else. I don't care about anything else. What I want to do is the most important thing, and everybody else can suck it.
Yeah.
But once I kind of flipped the script in myself, and that took place when I was about maybe 19, like I was like thinking about the world differently. I was thinking that I have a place in this world, and that my actions and the way I interact with other human beings and the world around me comes back to me. So that was my journey with self-awareness. And through these years of, was it 105 years now? I'm currently 124.
Ancient Andrew.
I mean, I have the calves of a 28-year-old.
Wow. No ego, though.
No ego. I mean, it's just facts. I mean, when they look like a 28-year-old.
That's what the doctor said.
I mean, what can I say? He was like, he's never seen calves like that on somebody who's 124 years old. So thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Doc.
So what do you think about your journey with spirituality and progressing, regressing, all of that?
When you threw that question at me, my mind went immediately to the idea that in order to know if you're progressing, you have to understand where you started. or at some point where you started again, like kind of looking at the scrapbook of your life is how I looked at it. And my thoughts went in two directions after that, as they do. This is where the ADHD starts. So
I'm a little upset it's just two.
We've got a bunch of different directions. So the one that felt hardest for me to kind of look at was, Andrew and I were talking about this before we started hitting record. As a child that spent plenty of time, many of years in foster care system, I've spent an adulthood of healing and growing and moving away from my biological family. And just in the past few weeks, I received a Facebook Messenger from my biological mom. And it was very, very, I don't know how she found me. We're not connected in any way in this life right now. And it was simply put, I would like to meet you. And she included some pictures of me as a 3 or 4 year old. And up until seeing that message, I had never seen a picture of me at that age before. So that took me in a loop of understanding where I started from many, many moons ago. So that's one way that I started looking at it. And if I compare myself where I was as a 4 or 5 year old, I would say this life has progressed me in a better situation. But the second one I didn't tell you about is me in the last 4 years. And in COVID, so we're at the exact 4 year mark. The other day, again on Facebook, my memories popped up of the first Zoom yoga class that you held during that time. And along that same time, I started taking a selfie of myself. And what I realized looking back was every day, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, I had a group chat with a bunch of our friends, and we're all at home and missing out on our social engagement. We would all open a beer, pour a beer, to snap a picture of us and do a cheers, 4:00 in the afternoon. Then
Hold on, this is after yoga?
Before. It was a before yoga beer. It was a weird time, okay?
I had no idea. I'm pretty sure I was pretty strict about that. But okay, continue. Jeez, I got to watch you guys all the time. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, that started a documentation that I did of myself. Every few weeks, I created an album in my phone of it's titled Jen-Quarantine. And it's like 100 images, give or take, of me from March 2020 until maybe a few months ago. And,
You've been in quarantine all this time?
Yeah, I'm still in quarantine. I kind of like it here. I don't have to talk to people in person. But anyways, the self-reflection was I looked back over myself over the year of, being in 2020 and how I could see myself changing for the better. And of course, it was me just capturing an image of me doing a yoga posture, or me trying to get in a handstand, or, me cheersing the beer, and, 2 PM.
Did you have a beer in your hand while you were trying to do a handstand?
No. My yoga teacher would have been pissed.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the after pic of that.
Man, noted. Next time we're in quarantine, I'll try that.
Yeah, that's great. Something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to. Yeah, but I was able to look at myself in kind of a more recent snapshot of my spiritual journey. For whatever reason, I was capturing it, and I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. I was just dropping it in this footer, like, look at me in the woods. Here I am on a hike. And it's nothing I was sharing with people. It was just kind of me doing my thing. And it turns out being a timeline of my growth. So, yeah, I mean, when you brought this up, that's...
Yeah, so I brought it up to you. There's lots I want to come back to.
A lot to unpack here. I know.
There's a lot that I heard everything, and I want to come back to. But when I brought up the subject to you about this, hey, where am I? Progress thing. It kind of cuts against what I believe in as a Zenist, and is like, Like, it's not about progress. You do because you need to. I mean, because it's, just because, not for no purpose. You just do it because it's there, right?
You're not goal oriented in
Right.
your spiritual.
So we shouldn't think that, like, I've got to get to the next level of this game, because it's not a game, right? And also, it cuts against the idea of being present. If I'm thinking about how the Andrew version of whatever 2020, of course he's going to be a different version than Andrew of 2024, just the same as Andrew from yesterday is a different version of Andrew today.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things that I struggle with, but this idea of, like, well, am I better or worse than I was? Because I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into comparison things, because if I do that, then I start thinking every day, was I better yesterday or better today? Like, do I put a gold star on the board for yesterday?
How can I make today even better?
Yeah, and who's telling me that I don't get to put up the gold star? Do I got to call you and say, like, you know what, Andrew, I'm not feeling gold star. Maybe half a gold star today. Wait, what?
Yeah,
So,
like, who's the scorekeeper? Who's the
exactly.
person? Yeah.
Who's the scorekeeper? Because there is no scorekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
So those things kind of bug me about this idea of where am I going and how am I getting there and stuff like that. So let's back up. What you said to me about your biological mother reaching out to you is profound and should not be skipped over. I mean, we could probably go on for days, if not weeks, about that and all the things that connect to that. Do you believe that maybe she's looking at her own life in a spiritual perspective and going, there's some regrets or some regression, or she's trying to progress too by reaching out to you, and maybe we'd like to think that she's actually on that journey, making amends with herself and the people around her. Do you feel like you need to give her that space?
Who am I to judge where she is in her life?
Right.
And I think before I did all the spiritual growth work that I've done in the past 4 years or so, I think there was a part of me that wanted the opportunity to say, yeah, let's fucking talk. I got some things to say.
Right.
and that was, or, maybe there's a part of me that thought maybe I should give her the space to ask for forgiveness, which would give me the space to forgive out loud and move on. And what a relief to be in the space I am now, to not feel hot or cold about her at all. I don't feel like if she is seeking forgiveness and spiritual growth, she can do that without my response.
Right.
And I wish her the best in that. But if she is seeking something more in a more negative tone from, my memory of her 30-something years ago, then I can't allow that boundary for her to cross that boundary, because my boundary is safe and solid right now.
Right. When we've talked about that before, the idea of compassion on other episodes, I think the episode is called Compassion, where, as our spiritual journey continues to grow, we find ourselves thinking not only about our needs, but those around us, and we want to treat them as we do ourselves with great compassion. And then these people come back into our lives that we have maybe, healed from, or put, like reconciled in whatever way that is, maybe a good way, a bad way. And they come back into our lives, and we're different spiritual creatures than we were before, because we've been working on this thing of compassion. And we're like, okay, I'll give you that space. You no longer have control over me, and like all of that stuff. And these people come back into our lives, and we don't know what to do, because it becomes like this juxtaposition, because like if I give them compassion, they're going to eat it all up, and then they're going to come for more, and they're going to come for more, right? And I know that sounds horrible, and I know that really does. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, we live in a real world. These people exist. And if you have to be careful of your boundaries. And we've talked about it before, this idea of stumbling past genuine, earnest compassion, saying, okay, I'll give you a little bit of space to say what you need to say. And I'm not saying that's what you need to do here. But what I'm saying is, if you give that person that little bit of space to say, hey, whatever, give you peace, that's fine. But once you start giving yourself away in that process, and you're giving more of yourself away, and you're going backwards, you find yourself regressing, then that's idiot compassion. And that's counterproductive to your spiritual journey. Right?
Yeah. I mean, well, it takes a strong awareness of where the line is between compassion and idiot compassion, and knowing like being firm and knowing yourself so intimately that you know when someone is creeping up on that line to stop it.
And that's part of the spiritual process too, and people won't really talk to you about that, but that is part of the spiritual process. It's part of that growth process where it's identifying those ways that those people can get to you, right? Well, you've already put up your boundaries. You understand your limits, right? And they're trying all their old tricks in the book to try to get back in there because like, oh, I'll do this because last time I did this, like I've had many times in the past, like people throw out an ultimatum. Well, you'll never hear from me again. And then 3 days later, they're like, oh, hey, you want to talk? I'm like, wait, hold on. I thought we were is never again
I was
now?
excited about the never again.
It's like, I was like, well, I want to see how long you could hold your breath, you know? But so people will try these tricks and games to see if they can undercut you. And manipulate and all that stuff. And really, I think what it is sometimes they're looking for somebody else to absolve them of their sin, to forgive them. And that forgiveness for them can only arrive inside of them. Just much like you've done, and we've all done through these processes of when we've gone through trauma or pain or difficulties, like we're the ones that have to forgive ourselves. Like there's nobody else on this planet. There's not a priest. There's not a monk. There's not a holy person that can give us that gift. We're the only one that can give ourselves that gift of forgiveness. You'll never get the closure you want. So, you know, I hope that your mom finds what she needs in herself. But if she's looking for closure, she's looking for something, she may not get it. And she needs to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
I went through the same process with my father to some extent, and I'll just commiserate that. I hadn't talked to my father for many years. He went off and found a new wife and, you know, for whatever reason, didn't feel like he wanted to talk to his children anymore. And while that hurt, I was an adult. I could take it. He contacted me kind of out of the blue, much like your mother did. And he said to me via text, he wants to get together. And I said, I'm a maybe on that. And he was like, I'm dying, which I felt like it was a manipulative move on his part, right? And I think I probably used this verbatim in my book, Waiting Impatiently. We're all dying.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I said to him via text. I was like, well, we're all dying. And yeah, like as I say that on like a spiritual podcast, it seems really snarky and cutting and mean. There's truth to it, but it was meant as to be snarky and mean because
that's
I'd
where you
gone
were.
through some trauma, right?
Yeah.
And I pushed myself, and I went there, and I met my father for breakfast, and it didn't go as planned. And to some extent, or you know, by some measure, I felt like maybe I had regressed. Like things that didn't bother me anymore suddenly bothered me again. And I said some things out loud, and I didn't regret them, but I didn't feel dynamite about them. And so I had let somebody else's, I'd let somebody else manipulate me into putting me in this position where I wasn't ready to have that communication. And fortunately for me, I was able to, before my father died, to have that moment, to clear the air. But I wasn't ready. I was still angry about not just what had happened in the immediate past, what had happened in the past. And when you're on the planet 124 years, you see some stuff
to uncover.
Because I think what my father was looking for at that point in his life was he was looking for me to forgive him then.
Yeah.
Because he was looking at the end of his life and thinking, well, the end is closer than the start. I need to start sorting my shit out. I need to start getting some ducks in the rows, for whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And not everyone's ready when you're ready.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard too, because I think when you're in the position of asking for someone to forgive you, you're wanting to you're now in a wanting to heal space, and there's an ideal that I can't heal until this person knows that I'm trying to heal, and just go do your healing on your own, and they'll see it or they won't, but you have to be okay with that.
People say to me all the time, or they'll come to me as a teacher and they'll be like, hey, I'm really having a hard time getting over a death of someone or a relationship that still sticks in my mind of, that person was the one, and I let him get away. And we've talked about that many times. Mm-hmm. I've written articles about it for our blogs and stuff like that, life's regrets. But what I like to think, and sometimes what I say to them, is it's not about the one that got away. Maybe that you think that person in your life, we all probably have that one person in our life, that relationship didn't work out, and that's the one that got away. I think it's not about the one that got away, it's the one that showed you the way or opened the door to show you the way to really what you need to find. Mm-hmm. Because you can't expect somebody else to fill your life.
Yeah.
We are social creatures, and we want all of these things. We want to surround ourselves with people, and I'll just say this: surround yourself with people who inspire you first. Mm-hmm. Okay, if they're bringing you down, sub them out. Find some better people in your life. Yeah. But we're social creatures. We want to have community. We want to surround ourselves with people, and then sometimes we get attached to those people, but we need to learn to live without them, because mm-hmm. they're not. You have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. You have to be your own best friend. You have to be your own best partner, because that's the only connection you have.
Yeah. I am a long-time believer that not everyone is meant to be in your life forever.
Right.
But you have to see their exit as a gift to helping you on your way, whatever that is. So take what you can from it. Don't be attached to it. It's so easy for me to go through my little bubble of all the people in my life, the lost loves, or the ones I thought were going to be forever, but they weren't. They all formed, I guess, the layers of you.
Well, they all put. Think about less about layers, but if you think about, they're all spices to your life's gumbo.
Gumbo, spicy. Mine's extra spicy.
So what I'm saying is those people that come and go in your life are add spice to it.
Yeah, but they are also adding layers of experiences.
You just want to get. Okay, you want to go layers. You don't want to go gumbo.
Onions.
Okay.
I'm thinking onions.
Oh, you want to go roux? you want to build a roux first?
Yeah, they're building blocks.
Okay, my bad. Okay. Continue.
Get on my level today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you continue with your layers.
Oh yeah, my layers. So no, the other layers made sense here. No, we've talked about ego before and experiences that drive our decisions. All of these people and these things are layers on top of our little egos. And no,
it's fine. I was listening. I think you lost yourself there.
I did. Well, okay. Layers, onions.
Hey, we don't edit this at all.
It's probably.
We don't even.
We could start today.
No. There are no mistakes in life.
No mistakes.
Happy accidents.
Just layers.
Just layers.
Layers.
Just layers. So back to the growing or getting worse. I think we got to stop thinking about it in those kind of binary terms.
Yeah.
It's not about better or worse, good or bad. It's about, just staying on your path, whatever that is. And there's times that you're going to fall off the path, and there's going to be times where there's going to be people who come out of the woods and push you off your path and, change your routine or screw up or fuck up your day or fuck up your week. But it's up to you to okay, I see what's going on around here, and I'm not going to let this stop me from what I want to do.
Yeah. My favorite mantra to use in these situations where you do feel like you've been pushed off the path, or you're kind of like, what is the purpose in all this? And the thought that now it's like this. Like whatever's going on right now, it's like this. It will change. It won't be the same in the next moment or the next day or the next year. But how do you just keep going forward and, acknowledging it's like this now, but it won't always be.
Yeah. Every day is a new sun, if you will. And you're going to tan under that new sun.
Now it's like this. I think we're going to go with that one.
You're just belligerent today, huh? Just belligerent.
Maybe I need a snack.
A snack? I mean, you jump in with, hey, what's up, pussycat? And
it's just like added layers onto it the whole day.
Please stop with the layers. All right?
I can't.
Is that the only form of analogy you have?
No,
is layers?
just the visual. Are
you getting some layers from me right now?
Oh yeah.
You get some layer vibes?
Crusty.
Right on. Okay, so let's wrap it up for today. Keep going. That's the takeaway. Just keep going. Stop measuring yourself. Be happy with where you are, and try to work on that contentment. And no expectations, I think, is really, if you can live every day with no expectations, you're layering it.
You're layering. Thanks for listening to No Expectations, the podcast. We invite you to come join us and carry on the conversation at noexpectations.me, our new website, where we will be posting blog posts. We will link all of our episodes there, and you can follow us on our social media sites through the website.